Moi everyone, and welcome to Finish Your Plate. Midsummer is one of the most important holidays in Finland. Exactly 6 months after Christmas, people get together, celebrate the sun, the summer, hopefully good weather. So depending where you are in Finland, sometimes the sun doesn't even set for several weeks at this time of the year. So it's perfect time to, of course, go out, have some fun, spend a day, maybe several days at your cabin. If you're a tourist, I would maybe not recommend going to Finland in midsummer, just because the cities get all deserted. And unless you have access to a cabin or place like that, it's going to be really quiet in the cities. Nothing will be open. So part of the midsummer menu is, of course, eating whatever is in season right now. Lots of Finns have cabins, and the cabins have access to sea or lakes. So, of course, it makes sense to have a lot of fish in midsummer. This is something that you could find probably more in the southwestern part of Finland, where I'm from. I have here some pickled herring. I have here some smoked whitefish. And I also have some Arctic char in here. I live in an area that has a sizable Jewish population, so I found the pickled herring at a kosher supermarket, and they had a huge selection of pickled herring. Sometimes you can find similar foods at very surprising places, and I thought it was great. I took a sampling of 4 different kinds of pickled herring, but they had several more to choose from. Also, same for whitefish. And I also have here some seasonal vegetables. Unfortunately, in the US, getting potatoes that are picked right out of the ground, it's difficult. You don't really see them in the store. Same goes for onions. You don't really get fresh onions that often. If you do, absolutely use the fresh potatoes, the fresh onions. I think potatoes are similar to like corn, for example, because corn, they say that you should eat it within a day of picking. I think potato is similar in the same way, that it tastes really nice when it's out of the ground. And it kind of starts to lose some of the flavor when it's out of the ground. So I'm going to be cooking this Arctic char, and I'm going to make a mushroom sauce to go with it. Some potatoes, and also some carrots over here. Multicolored carrots, which are always nice. And for dessert, I'm going to make a quark with some fresh berries. At this time of the year, strawberries may just be coming to season. They probably aren't in season in Finland yet, unless it's been a phenomenal summer so far. But still, usually in the summertime, strawberries are everywhere. And the strawberries grown in Finland, they are really sweet and flavorful. I'm going to start by cooking the potatoes. While the potato water is coming to temperature, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep a sour cream sauce for the potatoes. I'm just going to chop some green onion. And I'm also taking a big piece of dill, just chopping it. Then I'll take some sour cream. About 2 tablespoons. And I'm just going to put the onions and the dill in there. And then just some black pepper. And mix it up. Now that sour cream is ready. For the dessert, I'm just going to roughly cut and clean these berries. Get the stems out, especially big ones like this. So I have here some strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries. Now I'm just going to sprinkle some sugar on these. Like so. About a tablespoon. Maybe half. And mix them. Oops. Lost one. Now I'm going to let this macerate in the fridge for about an hour or so. My mushrooms are pretty small, so I'm just going to cut them in half. Of course, if you can find some local mushrooms, or maybe even if you can find some chanterelles, those would be really great here. I couldn't find any chanterelles, so I'm using these white button mushrooms. Just going to take a couple carrots, like so, and just quickly peel them. And just trim the ends. You could cook these carrots together with the potatoes. I'm just going to cook them separately just because there's a purple carrot in here. It might release some color. So I'm just going to cut these into about bite-sized pieces, like so. And I'm going to cook these separately. It looks like my water is boiling here for the potatoes. So I'm just going to put my and lastly, I'm just going to cut up a shallot. Just dice it. I took the mushrooms and shallots and I cooked them down. I'm just going to put them in here. I just cooked them in some olive oil. I'm going to lay down a piece of the Arctic char on top of it. I made some fish stock by just combining water and this smoked tuna sauce that I found at the Asian store. You could certainly use just fish sauce alone. Just pour some fish sauce in. And of course some white wine. Black pepper. Some salt. And of course, a lot of dill. Now this is going to go in the 400-degree oven until the fish is cooked. Now the potatoes are done. I'm just going to add the carrots in here. I'm going to take the sauce that we made, the sour cream sauce. And now just cover the lid and then shake it until it's all combined. There we go. I've said it before that this yogurt, fire yogurt, is a great alternative to quark. So I'm going to call this dish quark, even though it's really yogurt. So I'm just going to take about let's say 2 cups of the quark. Some of these berries that we macerated. And just mix them in. It's okay if they break. That's part of it. Just vigorously mix them in. Leave a couple for garnish. Now, you could use any kinds of berries that you can find. In Finland, strawberries would be common. Also, red currants are very common. Maybe even gooseberries, blueberries, bilberries. They're all very common. Oh, and cloudberries, of course. Now we'll just taste the sugar. Just remember, it's strawberries, other berries, so the sweetness could vary. So every time you have to taste the sugar. I like it a little bit more on the tart side. This is great, as is. I think cork actually has a little bit of that mouth-puckering quality in it. There we go. And I'm just going to put a couple more berries on top, just like so. The fish is done. The sauce could use a little reducing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this fish out and just reduce this sauce just a little more. And here we go. I reduced the sauce a little bit, plus added about half a tablespoon of butter, mixing it cold butter to reduce it a little and add a little bit more consistency. So now we're going to plate this. Just a couple of potatoes and carrots with the sour cream sauce and a piece of the Arctic char. There we go. Some of the sauce a little bit on the top, on the side. Couple of selected herrings. So this one is called Matthias herring. It's common in, besides Scandinavia, I think it's common in like the Netherlands. And I also have some creamy pickled herring here too. And this one's called just pepper crusted Swedish herring. So there we go. And of course we can't forget the smoked whitefish that I have here. I'm just going to take a portion like that and serve it right there. And then serve it with a green salad. I just have some chopped cucumbers here. And of course, you cannot forget the rye bread. A couple pieces of rye bread. There we go. Thanks for watching. Happy Midsummer. I'll see you next time on Finish Your Plate.